The Minnesota Vikings have a football game this Saturday. Yes, get excited. They are facing Houston, Texas in a preseason game. We're going to see J.J. McCarthy. We're going to see the rookies. We're going to see how the official, unofficial depth chart shakes out and how some of these guys get into the football game and how much they play and when they play. It's going to tell us a lot about where this team actually is. And get excited because football is back. Welcome to the Real Forno Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Forno Show, hosted by the one and only Tyler Forness. A to Z Sports sought him out to be their Minnesota Vikings reporter and NFL analyst. And he's a proud contributor over at SKOL North's Purple Daily. Tyler is also the captivating host of The Good, The Bad, and The Hungry on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, and a founding member of Vikings First and SKOL.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Real Forno Show, sponsored by our friends at Underdog Fantasy. My name is Tyler Forness. With me, as always, is producer Dave. Dave, we have a football game on Saturday, and thank God I am ready for actual football. Now, listen, I've been watching the Canadian Football League for the first third of the season, and I love the CFL, but the NFL just hits a little bit different. And I'm excited to get the tape. I'm excited to break it down. I'm excited to kind of look at certain things. Oh, we are so back, and it's exciting. Look, preseason is what it is. It's meh. The football is okay. But the reality here is this. It's still Vikings football, and that still rules. And I'm really excited to be able to sit here and talk about it. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing good. And the deal about preseason is we get to see our guys full go, not restricted. Not that you can't hit the quarterback, or not that, you've got to have a wide receiver wear a red jersey for some reason. All that sort of stuff that we see at camp normally, we see full on in a preseason game, which is cool. Building up the calluses, as Pay said yesterday.
That's a really good way to kind of frame it. And it's exciting. I was at practice yesterday. Some really interesting takeaways. You can go check that out at Easy Sports. You can also check out my live. Yeah, thank you. You can also check out my live thoughts in the Vikings First and SKOL Discord channel, which Dave has a link in the show notes, so you can go join. And it's a lot of fun. We're building up a nice little community there, and I'll be putting a lot of stuff in YouTube members. Those who give us that little extra money, you get an extra benefit where I have two channels in there. One is an Ask Me Anything channel, and I literally mean anything. And then there's also, I call the rumor mill, where when I hear stuff, I will share it, but only that channel and only for members of the YouTube channel. So that's an extra incentive to subscribe. And it's an easy linking process to Discord. And that's the only way you get access. I do not give anybody access except Dave. Dave gets access, but he's producer Dave. He's special. So I recommend you join there. All of my work gets shared in there. I have a channel for all my articles. I've got channels for all the shows, and all the shows auto-populate. So we do all the work for you. All you have to do is click a link. And it's going to be a lot of fun, especially throughout the NFL season. You're not going to want to miss it. But one of the things that I noticed, and I spent some time talking with Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings this morning, and some of these narratives, Dave, with J.J. McCarthy are getting real frustrating. And one of the big things with McCarthy is the fact that there seems to be this major disconnect with anybody who follows the team on a regular basis from a media perspective, not fans. Because one thing Luke and I have kind of figured out is there are a lot of fans, and something that I think you and I might have distanced ourselves from, and we don't realize this half the time. There are people that aren't like us that talk about the Vikings all year round. There are people who turn their TVs on Sundays and they turn them off when the game's done, and they don't listen to a bunch of talk radio and podcasts, those people are starting to like tune back in and get a sense of where JJ McCarthy's at. And some of these people are getting their information from Diana Rossini and Colin Cowherd, who really don't know what's going on. And this is why I've always been a big supporter of supporting those who cover the teams closely. This isn't 1999 anymore, when national people were more easily accessible half the time than your local beat, because they would be on ESPN and they would be on the radio. So this is a time of, it's the information age, where I posted my training camp thoughts article literally as I was walking out of TCO Performance Center. I posted it on my phone. You can get that kind of instant coverage from those who are there on site. And I think that's a really big disconnect with the McCarthy coverage, because if you get, let's call him Joe. Joe is that Vikings fan who just turns the game on Sundays, doesn't pay attention otherwise. And there's nothing wrong with that, Joe. That's how Joe chooses to enjoy his Vikings, and there's merit to that. But if you Google JJ McCarthy news, you're going to get Colin Cowherd and Diana Rossini at the top of that list talking about how JJ McCarthy's not playing well, and these other narratives that are just kind of rooted on something that they heard a long time ago and they just don't want to give it up. And it is incredibly difficult to be those people, to talk about every team and try and talk about them with this level of knowledge. You're not going to get that about every team from these national people. And that's why like national analysts are kind of dying by the wayside in favor of people like me, who are ingrained in what this team is and have the back knowledge of where things have been and where they're going and where they're at now. It's why people like Matthew Collar, who don't have a quote unquote job, they are an independent journalist, and they're able to do that because of their knowledge base, because of what they do. And they have that kind of context. And those people are the ones who should be listened to more about McCarthy. Because if you ask any of the people who are there consistently, other than like your basic dooming that you get every now and then from some of the beat members, because it's Minnesota sports, we all doom to an extent. But you're getting a much more balanced understanding of where things are at. And what I mean is, he's had up days, he's had down days, he's had frustrating ones, he's just been fine. And he has a command of the offense. But if you look nationally, you're not getting a lot of that. And I think, Dave, that's my biggest frustration, something I'm really excited to see, because this game is going to be broadcast nationally on NFL Network. NFL Network streams like 8 games live every single week when it comes to the preseason. And we're not talking like Greg Gumbel and Kurt Warner kind of thing. Rest in peace, Greg Gumbel. I miss that guy. That guy rules. But it's going to be Paul Allen, Pete Persich on the call. They're just streaming the game live on NFL Network. And I think that's a really big thing too, because there's going to be no excuse. Everybody's going to be paying attention to McCarthy on Saturday afternoon. And once you get that knowledge and be able to get that film out there, I think it's going to change a lot of narratives. Now, will he play as well as he did last preseason? No, I don't think he will, because last preseason was a tremendous football game. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to show that he's level, that he's talented, and that he can do a little bit of everything and do it successfully. But hearing some of these people talking about the Vikings in let's put it as like a negative kind of tones, it's frustrating, because a lot of what the national people are saying just does not relate to McCarthy at all. Support local beats, support those who are there regularly and have all that context.
I've said that numerous times to folks, that to get a good look at a team, especially like the Texans, go look at the Texas beat and see what they're saying. Not just nationally, because the national guys they got to cover all 32 teams plus the league. How much time do they have to doing the research and gathering notes and doing all the things that the local guys do, and it's by far limited.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to know.
Yeah, it's really hard to cover all 32 teams. It's really hard. Sometimes it's hard enough to cover one. And I cover two of them regularly. I cover the Vikings and I cover the Gators. Those are my responsibilities at A to Z Sports. But it's not the easiest thing in the world to cover one team, let alone two, let alone 32. So that's why I always say support those local. And I'm really excited to see what McCarthy's mechanics look like. And McCarthy's mechanics are going to be really interesting. I do think mechanically he's improved, but I think there's some people who just think he's got awful mechanics right now. No, they're inconsistent. I'll never forget this, and I've said it multiple times, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. I'll never forget Tim Tebow's draft process. And Tebow's, like, his NFL career, that doesn't matter to this, but he had a very elongated throwing motion. And because he had a elongated throwing motion, they spent a lot of the pre-draft process trying to shorten that up. And one of the things they kept saying throughout was it takes at least 10,000 reps to make it a habit, to make it second nature. Well, 10,000 reps is a lot. McCarthy maybe now has about 10,000 reps of that since they started really working on these mechanics. Because remember, he lost a lot of time because of the knee injury. So him still kind of whipping his back leg out like he's Mariano Rivera on the mound in the World Series, it's a lot more under control than it was in Michigan. And Luke showed me a clip from the first preseason game where he did almost a full rotation of that leg. And that full rotation was like, oh, buddy, holy crap. That was hefty. And you know what? The ball was fine. But that leg is a lot more under control now. And because it's a lot more under control, his accuracy numbers are going to be theoretically better over the course of like 100 throws. So we're seeing improvement, but he's not all the way there yet. And he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. Because it's hard to expect anybody who's 22 years old, who's completely adjusting all of his mechanics, to be there at this point. Now, I think by this point next year, I think it's a reasonable expectation that he should be there. But right now, it's okay. You're going to see warts. You're going to see a couple, like 1-2 interception games where he just looks like he's off. Because that's just the nature of playing quarterback and the nature of learning in the National Football League. But
hey, we always got 3 bad games from Kirk Cousins every year. Guaranteed.
Yeah. You're going to get at least 3 from McCarthy. And that's not an insult to McCarthy. You're going to get 3 bad games from Patrick Mahomes, too. It's just kind of the nature of football. Sometimes the defense is just going to get your butt. And it is what it is. But I think we're in a much better spot with McCarthy than a lot of people would lead you to believe. Yeah, Emily Liker, the Star Tribune, has been doing some really good training camp like notebooks. And she's got a different perspective from me because she has the credential right now and I'm still working on getting one. One thing that she wrote in there yesterday, Dave, I think you're going to love this. He kind of chewed the offensive line out for procedural stuff. Like they were getting false starts and just not in sync. He chewed them out. That's good leadership. That's command of the offense. That's understanding what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. I think that's objectively great. That's what you want to see from your young quarterback. But at the end of the day, you want to see that translate onto the field. And I think it's going to. But I think there's too heavy of expectations being placed on these guys. And I think they're going to be just fine. And McCarthy getting in there to start the game, I think is going to be really, really interesting. I think it's going to rock. I think it's going to be really impressive. And the Vikings kind of figuring things out is going to be great. So I can't wait to see how things manifest. I can't wait to see how he looks, how comfortable he is, how he's handling the line of scrimmage, how he's just doing everything. And T. Kubler asked, what's the benefit of a rookie QB contract for a project rookie? I don't think he's a project. I think there's things to clean up, and that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a guy who's 2 years away. We're talking about a guy I think can be a top half of the league quarterback in year one if he plays well. An average quarterback, if you get like Russell Wilson type quarterback play out of JJ McCarthy this year, I think you're happy. You'd like it to be better. But with everything he's got around him, with the elite defense, with the theoretically improved running game, with the offensive line in a much, much better spot, like I wouldn't consider him a project. I think you're in a good place with him. And some of the stuff, like, there's no perfect quarterback coming out. Caleb Williams had a lot of flaws coming out that some people just did not want to admit. Everybody's seen the net video, and I'm still concerned about Caleb Williams' long-term future. I think there's a good chance he's the bust, like, of this group, because working within structure is not a strength. Never has been. What does Ben Johnson thrive with? Working in structure.
Right. Now, he came out the next day and was like 5 for 5, and he was fine.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. But you got to remember, even Patrick Mahomes needed work.
Oh, he needed a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to have to give it time. And I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just nothing wrong with it. He's going to be okay. But that's going to be the big thing with this preseason game, is seeing what he ends up doing and how he ends up playing.
Mm-hmm. And yes, T-Bass, let's see. Now, is he going to play against the starters on the Texans?
Depends how many Texan starters are going to play. I'd assume he's going to play against some of them, but are you going to see Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson? My guess.
No, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter have already been ruled out, as well as CJ Stroud. Yeah.
Okay, so he's probably going to play like maybe against a couple DBs, maybe the D tackles. I mean, it's not going to be full starters, but there will be a couple, I'm sure. And I think it'll just be good to see him on the field again and get him in a good spot. I think that's going to be the big thing. Get him in a good spot. Now, there are some other things, Dave, that I'm really looking forward to seeing. And one of the things is, like, I want to talk real quick about something that I saw at training camp. Something that a lot of people shared on social media, videos of Walter Rouse beating Dallas Turner. I want to talk about that, because Walter Rouse beating Dallas Turner feels like a big story. It is, but it isn't. And one of the reasons why I say that is when it comes to Dallas Turner, he's been really good throughout camp. One of the interesting things about Turner is he does this thing with speed to power, but he doesn't have a lot of power. Like, when you think of speed to power, Jared Verse just annihilates offensive linemen. Dallas Turner is more of a leverage guy, where he gets under you with his full momentum, but he leverages you, where if he doesn't get the right leverage, then he doesn't really have the power to kind of overcome that. And he may get it, but he doesn't have it yet. Because remember, he came in the NFL like 247. Jared Verse was a grown-ass man at 265. There's just a different level of functional strength. He'll get to a much better level of functional strength, but he's not there yet. And that's okay. So Rouse kind of handled him because Turner was just trying to do the leverage game. And Rouse was able to kind of stop him. He stopped him twice on Monday. Wednesday, they were doing one-on-one, so he stopped him twice again. And I thought it was really interesting to see Turner in himself. Like, I'm not worried about him because I think he's going to kind of figure it out. But it's noteworthy that move still isn't working with the effectiveness that you would want, because he just doesn't have a lot of that core strength left. I do think that's going to kind of figure things out. I think he's going to kind of figure it out. He's going to learn. And a lot of this is just a learning game. I think you're going to see Turner for a few series. Let him get some opportunities rushing the passer. Let him get some opportunities just playing, because he didn't get a ton of that last year for a multitude of reasons. He got dinged up early in the year. I believe it was against the 49ers. He missed the Texans game. And then Andrew Van Ginkel had an all-pro year, and Jonathan Grenard had a near all-pro year. It makes sense to not play Turner within that context. So he's going to get a lot of opportunities. And I'm excited to kind of see him in those opportunities. But I'm also excited to see Rouse, because when he got drafted, one of the big knocks on him was, he just does not have the speed and foot quickness necessary to really handle those kind of pass rushers around the edge. Kind of similar to what Blake Brandel was, where Brandel, once he gets engaged with you, he's got a real good chance to win, but it's getting out in front of them and being able to kick step deep enough and be able to get those speed rushers. They'll whip his butt. That's why he's now a guard. So if Rouse now has gained some of that foot quickness, maybe we're in a better spot now.
Well, I want to say it was today's camp notes. Rouse blew up Grenard.
That's good.
Rouse was in there for the ones for Darisaw and blew up Grenard. But we'll see. I'm curious to look at him too. And I misspoke about Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. They are likely to be out. CJ Stroud has already been ruled out for this weekend.
Okay.
Not that JJ McCarthy will play against CJ Stroud, but our defense will.
So this is interesting. Apparently Anthony Richardson got smoked in the preseason, and he left the game with an arm injury. So that's not good. Oh yeah, he just shoulder on arm. Oofta.
Really?
That was gnarly. Yeah.
I got the game on behind me, but I'm not paying attention, so I missed it.
I'll shoot you a text. It's pretty gnarly.
He needs one of those rubber band attachments on his arm or something, because he keeps injuring his shoulder.
Well, I mean, it's just a front side sack. He was looking downfield, didn't see him. Just one of those deals. But I'm excited to see those guys. I'm excited to see how the trenches play out, because one thing that's been made abundantly clear is Taki Taimani, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the third team. He's on the outside looking in on this roster. Levi Drake Rodriguez has supplanted him. And I think one of the reasons is Levi Drake needed to get an NFL body. He didn't quite have one coming out of college. And that's to be expected coming from Texas A&M Commerce. Because if you go to some of these FCS schools, they're, what do you call it? Their facilities are worse than some high schools. They just don't have the resources to be able to really maximize players. Levi Drake Rodriguez comes in. Taimani and Redmond play well, but they know Rodriguez. They believe in his future. So it becomes a redshirt year. And now Rodriguez looks really good. He's moving great. He's got good size and strength. And man, I'm really excited to kind of see what he's going to do on the football field. He's starting to work in with the ones, which if you're a second teamer, you're going to end up working with the ones a little bit. That's just going to happen. It's bound to. But I'm really excited to see what Taki Taimani, Jalen Redmond, Levi Drake Rodriguez, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, and the one I'm really excited about is Elijah Williams. I want to see if that dude has anything. We talked about him. Super productive at the FCS level. Is he going to have any kind of production at the NFL level? I don't know. But when you are a mini camp invitee and then you earn a contract, that says something. I want to see you play. Could this be another Jalen Redmond situation? I don't know. I don't want to
Another
speak.
one standing out this preseason so far.
Yeah, Redmond looks great. He looks tremendous.
Looks like him and LDR are the first two rotational pieces.
Yeah.
But Elijah Williams, it's going to be interesting to see him for the first time for me.
Yeah, I really didn't notice him. And some of that is it's really hard to focus on the trenches from my purview. It's very difficult because you're just so far away. I'm like 90 yards away, and I'm like basically in the end zone staring at these guys. So I didn't just ignore it. I didn't just punt it, but it's hard to really form concrete opinions when it's a lot harder to see those guys. A lot easier to see position players, a lot easier to see secondary. And I'm very intrigued to kind of see how things are going to stack up with the trench guys. Could be something, could be nothing. I don't know. But it's really interesting. There are some players, Dave, that I'm really excited to see. I talked about Rouse. I talked about Elijah Williams. Another guy I'm really excited about is Zemaiah Vaughn. And I thought it was interesting looking at the, what do you call it? The unofficial depth chart. So these depth charts are interesting. They are released. Every team has to release them before every preseason game. The reality is this: they're put together by the PR teams. So they are often a sense of, hey, this is what's going on. But there's always this level of distrust with them because it's not like a super official depth chart. So with the Vikings, what's really interesting here is when you look at the depth chart, my mind is blanking. There are some things that are really interesting. There's some things that are like, okay, this makes no sense. The biggest thing that didn't make any sense was Zemaiah Vaughn, who's been working a lot with the twos, was the last cornerback listed on the depth chart. The last one. That's not good, but it also doesn't make a ton of sense. Why, if he's why is he doing this?
You got to remember that the official depth chart is not done by the coaches. They don't
That's what I said. It's done by
week
PR.
1.
Yeah, I said that, Dave.
Yeah, but that means, and you're asking why is he on the bottom? Well, it means some intern probably screwed it up.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Give me a second. I've got a minor emergency. I got to go check something. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll continue. But Zemaiah Vaughn, I think when we watch him this weekend is going to be interesting to watch because, hey, cornerback depth for us is a big deal. Let's see how he does. Where does he fit in? Is he going to beat Dwight McGlothern, i.e. cornerback 5, cornerback 6? Which spot is he going to nail? And it's going to be interesting to find out, I would think. Now, Delton, I appreciate that you were there today and you were giving your opinions. I love that they looked out of sync, and that is not good. But certain days they do, certain days they don't. It's interesting. Let's hopefully they get back in to sync. It's going to be interesting. And Delton said when it asked about how one of the defensive linemen were doing, he got washed out by a Fries double. Hey, I can't wait to see Will Fries. I think that guy's going to be a beast. And that he's going to enjoy blowing people up. There's a picture that's going around on the internet where he's got, I want to say LDR up in the air. And LDR is getting so much hype that he's constantly, beat writers saying he's constantly in the backfield. And it's generally when Fries isn't in there. And it's like, whoa, all right, well, good. And let's see him, go one-on-one. And I can tell you, you're not going to win every rep. You want to win most of them. And, hey, Will Fries won that one. LDR may win the next one. Who knows? Robbie says, Rashawn Slater out for the season for the Chargers. Any chance we trade Skule, Brandel, or Rouse, or Brown? They have one extra offensive tackle. And Kwesi traded Vidarian Lowe in 2023. Rob, that's a great question. I have no idea if the Vikings are willing at this point in time, but maybe get an extra draft pick that we could throw at maybe Carolina for a wide receiver. Who knows? Delton says it happens. Our line looks good. Good. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Now, who's going to play, who's not going to play? I suspect Darrisaw won't be in there. I suspect Fries won't be in there. Kelly may not be in there because of his banged up elbow. So it's going to be interesting. And then people are going to say, hey, JJ looked bad. Well, JJ is not going to be thrown to Justin Jefferson. JJ is going to have only a fraction of his offensive line. It's going to be interesting how they play this. But the reps are needed at full speed to build up those calluses that are so needed. John says, write this down. McCarthy will have over 400 yards rushing and 5 TDs this season. Or rushing TDs this season. Hey, cool. I hope so. That and about 4,000 yards worth of passing. He does that, we're golden.
Yeah. Sorry about the me having to jump out. There's a leak in my bathroom. So we had to kind of pinpoint it quick. Luckily it seems that the one of the faucets was barely cracked open, but it wasn't like dripping. It was going back, and then it loaded on the counter and then started dripping. So just a lot of drying that needs to go on, which really sucks. But everything's going to be okay. So where'd you take the show while I was gone, Dave?
Oh, we're just going over things. We're talking about Zemaiah Vaughn.
I'm really excited to see him in live game action because I thought he's looked pretty good. He looks like an NFL corner. He's got the size, he's got the length, he's got the movement skills. And what's really interesting about TQ, that's funny. I actually just traded for Richardson in my dynasty league, like literally on Monday. Just incredible timing. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's probably just like a bruised arm or something. My guess is it's minor. But with Vaughn, what's really important to know, and something that's really interesting about the discussion topics of, is this guy worth developing? Well, the interesting thing, yes, I did for a long. Thank you so much. I haven't had a chance to try any of them yet. I know Dave already drank all of them. So I don't drink that much anymore, but I'm going to have a night where I'm going to enjoy them. I'm really excited. Especially that holiday rye. That sounds just tremendous.
It is. And just close your eyes and sip it and you hear jingle bells on a sleigh and snow, and you smell the kitchen and the cooking. It's wonderful.
Yeah. One thing that's really interesting about Vaughn, though, is he's only been a corner for like 3 years, even though he's 23, because he came to Utah as a quarterback. That matters. That's really interesting because Usually a developmental guy, you don't want to be that old for obvious reasons, because there's only so much you can get from him, and you want your developmental guys to be like 20, 21 years old. But when you have a guy that's switched positions and he still has a lot to learn about the position, you feel a little more comfortable taking an opportunity to develop that guy. And it's especially so when that guy is an undrafted free agent. It's a no-risk situation. The only thing you're risking is a roster spot, where if you think this guy's got upside potential because of his limited snaps at a position, well, was he really taking anything away from a guy who's probably never going to improve, but it's just a solid special teamer? No. And I think that's what's really interesting about Vaughn. I think you can take him to another level. I think he can improve. And because of that, I'm really, really intriguing to see what Vaughn can do. The big thing with Vaughn is he runs great linear. He's a great linear mover, north and south. When he's got to flip those hips and go east and west, it can be a little murky. So how do they figure that out? That's what I'm really intrigued to see. And I'm really excited to kind of understand what that's going to look like. And I'm fascinated overall.
Cool. So are we.
Yeah. A couple more guys. So Dwight McGlothern is somebody I'm going to be keeping an eye on too, because he has had a good camp. He had 3 straight days with interceptions. I thought every time I saw him, he looked really good. But one of the big things with McGlothern, like this past Wednesday, yeah, he had a rough day. Allowed 2 touchdowns of red zone drills. One of them a stutter step fade to Rondale Moore on the outside. The other to Tim Jones on an in-breaking route on the back line of the end zone. One bad day can eliminate, especially in a preseason game, can eliminate all the good that you've put in during training camp. So what does McGlothern end up doing? How does he end up showing out in the preseason game? I'm really excited about what that could look like. And right now, he's got that CB5 job. That's his to lose, in my opinion. A lot of positives coming from TCO about McGlothern. He looks the part. He's improved. Can he take that pivotal next step? We'll see. But that's what this time of year is for. It's to separate. And I'm excited to see that separation happen. And I hope it's for the better. But we'll see.
Sort of like Jalen Naylor. Jalen Naylor will have the opportunity to separate. But has he done it in some days in camp like today? No, he gets the dropsies. He's got to learn to catch that football, get better at it. He's got 2 people in front of him that can help teach him. And a great coach. But will he step up? Kevin O'Connell thinks he will, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight McGlothern step up and fix the other things that are needed on his game. We'll see.
Yeah. A couple more guys that I'm going to be really keeping an eye on. And one of them is Lucky Jackson. And I think this is really important to understand how preseason can matter for some people. If you don't play, it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. Really good thing meaning you don't play because you're too high on the depth chart. Really bad meaning on the back, like the back end of the roster, you're not really doing much. You are like the Reddy Stewards, the Keenan Garbers. Like, that's not good. That's a sign of you aren't worthy enough to play when we're playing some of the higher end guys. So you got to make your mark in weeks 2 and 3. So with Lucky Jackson, because he's been running a lot with the ones on that unofficial depth chart, he was wide receiver 4. Is he going to show up in a major way? And when is he going to be taken out? I think that's going to be a really, really important thing. If he just plays like the first 4 series and then is done for the day, that's going to speak volumes about where he is on this team. And I think that's going to be real interesting. And I want to see that. And if he plays extensively, that could mean a whole different thing. That could mean we just want to see him get snaps. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. The other receiver, Dave, that I'm really excited about, and then we'll take some questions here before we end up going. So stick around and don't drop your questions in the chat. Dante Fleming. Both times I was at practice, he stood out. I was really, really impressed with some of the ball tracking skills, the ability to catch over the shoulder, the ability to catch deep. Fleming looks the part of an NFL receiver. Is he going to be good enough to make the roster? At this point, probably not. But, and I want people to listen to me when I say this, because I don't think he's Adam Thielen, but I think he could have that Adam Thielen track where year 1, he's a practice squatter. He grows and develops. Year 2, he makes the roster. Year 3, maybe he starts working in and getting like 10 to 20 receptions in the season. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Not him being a Pro Bowler multiple times and a second team All-Pro and being the best story in NFL history. I'm talking about starting on the practice squad and working his way up. Because I feel like there's something with Fleming that is really, really intriguing to me. And I can't shake the fact that I think there's something there with this guy. Now, preseason is going to tell all. If he doesn't do shit, well, none of that matters. But I'm very, very fascinated by what he can be. And I think that's going to be real interesting.
Hey, the way I've heard him talk about, he's going to be a great addition to the practice squad. And hopefully develop. This game between the Colts and Baltimore has been brutal.
Yeah. First preseason games often are because they're just kind of figuring things out.
I'm not talking about quality of play. I'm talking about mash unit.
Oh, no.
The Ravens just lost their rookie corner.
That's, oh, buddy.
Carted off. Left line.
Who was it?
Cone, something like that.
Man, that's, you don't want to see injuries, but that kind of stuff happens. It sounds like Richardson has a dislocated pinky. And it sounds like what they're just going to do is Richardson starts game 2 because Jones is going to play a lot more in game 1 now. So theoretically,
shoulder and his throwing arm to a dislocated pinky. Put that bitch back up and tape that bitch.
Well, it's preseason. They're not going to do that. Regular season, they probably do. Kone was the one who got hurt. Yeah. Oh man, that stinks. He was a good player. I remember watching his tape. Kevin's going to be sad. He liked Kone a lot. I didn't realize he was a Raven. I thought he was a Chief for some reason. Anyways, Aircast. Yep, if it's an Aircast, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Aaron asked about Silas Bolden. Let me tell you about Silas Bolden. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for this reason. He's too small. Dave, you remember that game show where the wall's coming at you and you have to like contort your body to be able like to the shape and so like you advance through? He was doing that on multiple like reps because the ball was thrown just outside of his radius and he was like diving and contorting his body in weird ways that a normal size wide receiver wouldn't have to. That to me is a big red flag. I just don't think he's going to be that good. And it's also evident because he's not a first teamer at either punt returner or kick returner. That's not a good sign either.
And that's why
I think
he's going to make it. Yeah.
In my opinion, it's the only way he can make this team. Being a dynamite returner, which objectively he was very good at in college. But I don't see him making the roster. I just think he's too small. And small is, you're always going to have disadvantages by being small, like stuff like catch radius. Like that's just inherent. But some players, it doesn't matter because they're good enough. Like Tank Dell, he's small, but when he's been healthy, he's been real good at doing all the things that a receiver needs to do. There's always going to be inherent disadvantages, but he's good enough at everything else where he overcomes it. I don't see that with Silas Bolden. And yeah, I know Turpin is the best returner in the league, and he's really good at being a returner, but he doesn't play wide receiver, and he's also a much, much better athlete than Bolden. So if Bolden proves that he can be a great returner in the preseason, okay. Then he makes it as a returner. I think that's fine, but you're not going to play him on offense. You're not going to want to. And I think with the guys on this roster, I think you're going to want to prioritize maybe a Ty Felton being your kick returner and just getting the ball in his hands. Matt Daniels, special teams coordinator, talked about he's a guy you just want the ball in his hands. Once he gets the ball in his hands, it's just different. He's really good at it, and that's his big thing. So Bolden, I'm kind of out on, but we'll see. I'm really excited for this preseason game. I'm actually going to the game because, well, my wife and I used to always go to games, but I kind of can't because of the job now. So this is an opportunity for us to go. Shout out to my friend Russ for the tickets. He's a season ticket holder, so we'll be sitting in his seats. It's really cool.
And it said it's for your anniversary, which is cool as well.
Yeah, 5 years tomorrow. That's going to be, it's crazy. We've been together since October of 2017. That was our first date. And we've been married 5 years tomorrow. That's crazy. Pretty cool. Doesn't feel like 5 years. I'll tell you that. But it has been. Time flies when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll answer this from Freddie, and then we'll end up going. Who's going to play third cornerback the most? I think you're going to see a lot of Blackman. Get him reps. Get him in position. And I think you'll be fine. I think getting him in position to just play. Freddie, no kids, just two dogs. We love them. Getting Blackman reps, I think, is going to be really important because he didn't play at all last year. Got hurt on literally the last play of the first training camp practice last year. So he's got a lot of catching up to do. And I think preseason is going to be really good for him. And that is our show. Really excited about what this preseason can be. Next week, we'll have the Real Forno Show on Monday and Thursday. And don't forget, we'll have two old bloggers this Sunday. Mm-hmm. And remember, it will transition to Saturday after Labor Day weekend. Mm-hmm. So
actually, that may change. It may go next weekend. Ooh. Just because guess who's going on another vacation?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to make so much fun of Darren. This is going to be great for me.
He's going to one end of the country, I think, to visit his daughter in college. And then he's going to fly all the way over the next weekend to the other end of the country. We'll see.
Damn. Well,
I'll tell you me.
The one old blogger.
Yep, very old blogger. Yes, you got that right. But if that's the case, it becomes an interaction show. I will be talking with people, and we'll be going over lots of things.
Mm-hmm. And we'll end on this with Grandizer. Do I have score predictions? No.
Preseason.
I don't like score predictions in general. I'll do them. I don't like them. Especially because everybody's just like, oh, 24-21, 24-20. Like, don't be a coward. Like, I think the Giants game, I think I predicted like 31-13. It ended up being 28-6. So I felt pretty good about that one. But yeah, score predictions are just for content. And don't forget, Vikings First and SKOL Discord. Check the show notes on either the podcast or on YouTube. Click the link. Join us. We'll have Dave and I are talking about doing some more in-season content, and those in the Discord will know when that comes before anyone else. So you'll want to jump in there. That is our show tonight. I'm going to go help my wife clean up the bathroom. We got to do, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not good, but it's not that bad.
That's what a shop vac's for.
I have a shop vac, but actually, we have a green machine, like a spot carpet cleaner. So I'll just absorb all the water with that, which it'll work out real nice. We got a fan going on right now. Wife is working hard, and then dinner time. Chipotle bowls for dinner tonight. Cannot wait. Maybe I'll send a picture in the food channel on the Discord.
I like Dalton's prediction. Minnesota 35, Texas -5.
That'd be hilarious if Texas ever got to -5. Temperature, I mean. That would probably be the end of the world, or what was it? The day after tomorrow, where they kind of predicted like a new ice age. Anyways, thanks for joining. Join the Discord. I'm Tyler. He's Dave. Enjoy the football this weekend. It's finally back. SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. It helps us grow this community that we all love, our Minnesota Vikings. And on behalf of Tyler Forness and myself, Dave Stefano, thank you so dearly for watching The Real Forno Show. SKOL, everyone.